Hello and welcome to Factual Insider, the channel that strives to cover as many facts as possible. Today we will be discussing 10 facts about the Ford Mustang you may not know. If you find any of the facts to be interesting, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive notifications. With that being said, let's get started. Number 1. The iconic American muscle car that had production start in 1964, had its first prototype built in 1961, and had executive stylist, John Najjar, credited by Ford to help create the name for the Ford Mustang. John Najjar, who was a fan of the P-51 Mustang aviation fighter plane which was used during World War II, the Korean War, and along with other conflicts was a single-seater fighter bomber. Interestingly, the Ford Mustang is named after the aviation machine that was used during conflict. The Mustang was meant to embody the American spirit, and even though John Najjar was successful at convincing the higher-ups at Ford to name the American muscle car the Mustang, they weren't pleased with the fact that the car would be named after a vehicle used in war. Number 2. While the Ford Mustang is an easily recognizable name among car enthusiasts, there were other names that were also proposed to name the car. A few names that were also suggested were Comet, Panther, Allegro, Cougar and many others. However, Mercury, that was under the ownership of Ford, would get its own muscle car named the Cougar, with its first generation starting in 1967 and its last generation ending in 2002. Interestingly enough, the 8th generation of Mercury Cougars that were produced from 1998 to 2002 were known in Europe as the Ford Cougar, which could have been the name at one point for the Ford Mustang. Number 3. After the debut of the Ford Mustang in 1964 at the New York World Fair, Ford would end up selling 22,000 Mustangs on its first day available for consumer purchase, and sales were also bolstered after advertising the Ford Mustang on primetime television on 3 major networks. The first year of sales of the Ford Mustang went so well, Ford actually shattered their forecast estimates of how much Mustangs would sell, selling 4 times their estimate. The Ford Mustang would sell over 400,000 cars in its first year. Number 4. In 1966, the first supercharged Ford Mustang came out thanks to the help of Carroll Shelby, who was an automotive designer and race car driver who helped build 11 GT350 fastbacks that were fitted with Paxton superchargers. Carroll Shelby believed that the addition of the supercharger would improve the power of Ford's factory unit by 46% and would up the output from 271 to 350 horsepower. He also considered building a specific supercharged model of the GT350, but he decided to make the supercharger an option for consumers that would cost $670 at the time. Number 5. Over the years, Ford has had many competitors towards the Mustang, such as the Dodge Charger, Chevrolet Camaro, Pontiac Firebird and so on. Ford would release its 2020 GT500, which would be the first Mustang from Ford to boast over 700 horsepower and has 760 horsepower that is controlled by a Tremix 7-speed dual-clutch automatic. While this is a feat for Ford's legacy with the Mustang, Ford would be too late behind its competitors with horsepower after Dodge came out with its Challenger Red Eye that has 797 horsepower. Number 6. The Ford Mustang would be a car that would be featured in many different films such as Gone in 60 Seconds, Bullet, the Need for Speed film featuring Aaron Paul in 2014, and so on. However, the first Ford Mustang to appear in a major film would be a 1964 Mustang convertible in the film Goldfinger, which was released back in 1964 and would be the 3rd installment of the James Bond 007 films that featured Sean Connery as James Bond. Number 7. Loved among car enthusiasts, 1,326 Ford Mustangs paraded towards Ford's proving ground in Lommel, Belgium as an attempt to beat the previous world record of the largest Ford Mustang parade set on December 3, 2017 in Mexico with 960 Ford Mustangs. A sight to be seen with multiple generations of Ford Mustangs from the latest years to the earliest years. The record was achieved by all the cars driving in a single uninterrupted convoy, and once the Mustangs were lined up for a photo after the achievement was completed, a P-51 airplane was doing a circle above the fleet of Mustangs. A perfect way to wrap up the show. Number 8. Electric vehicles and SUVs are current go-to consumer choices of vehicles in today's market for cars in the United States. With Teslas and Explorers that can be seen, it's easy to see what the current auto trends are. Ford, realizing that the auto market has a demand for both electric vehicles and SUVs, Ford decided to make an electric SUV and name it the Mustang Mach-E. The decision was made to use the familiarity of the Mustang name to attract customers to purchase the vehicle. Of course, this decision did not please many enthusiasts of the Ford Mustang, believing that the new take of the Mustang is not ideal for its identity. Despite the new electric SUV being available to purchase, Ford still offers new Mustangs that are more recognizable of its traditional identity. Number 9. Used for a promotional tour, a pre-production model of the Mustang with the serial number that ended with 001, was accidentally sold to a Canadian airplane pilot named Captain Stanley Tucker. The car actually sold 3 days early when the car was supposed to become publicly available for consumer purchase. Sold by a Ford salesman who was unaware that the car was not meant to be sold. He sold the car not even knowing the car was a pre-production model that was only meant to be seen in the showroom and lacked the necessary design for driving safety. Ford contacted the dealership in Canada and found out it was sold. Ford eventually reached an agreement with Stanley Tucker to replace his car with specifications he desired free of charge. Number 10. It's not a secret that millions of car enthusiasts love the Ford Mustang thanks to its stylish design, phenomenal driving experience along with other enjoyable factors. In fact, the American icon is so well liked, the Ford Mustang has 8.2 million likes on its Facebook page that has helped the car to be recognized to be the most liked nameplate under the Ford lineup of cars according to Ford. Well, there you have it. Those were 10 facts about the Ford Mustang you may not know. Hope that the video was enjoyable and entertaining. You are encouraged to watch more facts about cars and other miscellaneous topics. See you next time.